Hi everyone, my name is Aubrey Kamppila and I'm AWP's Associate Director of Events. Today I'm going to run through a short webinar on AWP's event proposal process. I'll be covering some general information about event proposals, the different components of an event proposal, a timeline for proposals and what happens afterwards if your event is accepted for the AWP Conference and Bookfair, and where on the AWP website you should look for information about the event proposal system. Thank you so much for watching this webinar, and I hope you find it helpful as you craft and get ready to submit your own event proposal. Before I begin, if you're looking for a step-by-step walkthrough through the event proposal system, there's actually another video that might be a more helpful resource for that. If you look on AWP's YouTube channel, AWP Writer, there will be an event proposal tutorial video that will show you step-by-step, click-by-click, how to navigate AWP's website and submission portal to start and submit an event proposal. If that's the resource you're looking for, I'd recommend clicking away to go watch that video. And if not, you can stick with me for some more general information about event proposals. Every year, we accept hundreds of event proposals from potential presenters, and we're expecting about 1,000 to 1,200 proposals this year. Of all of those proposals, we're able to accept between 300 and 350 events for the upcoming conference, which works out to an approximately 30% acceptance rate. Year to year, the specific number of proposals we can accept is dependent on the convention center where the conference will be held and the amount of space that's available for events on site. All of the events are selected by a city-specific conference subcommittee that's put together specifically for that upcoming conference. Each conference subcommittee is made up of 18 to 20 members, only 2 or 3 of which are AWP board members for some consistency from year to year. All other members of the subcommittee are individuals who represent AWP's membership and various constituencies. Each member reviews about 200 to 300 proposals, and every single proposal is reviewed by at least 3 subcommittee members. When the subcommittee members are reviewing proposals, they look for 4 criteria, which are artistic or academic merit, value to literary community, breadth of perspective, and proposal integrity. Next in this webinar, I'll discuss the different event roles and responsibilities that are involved in an event proposal. If you're watching this webinar and you're getting ready to submit a proposal yourself, most likely you're going to be the event organizer. The event organizer is the person who submits the event proposal to AWP and the person who serves as the main point of contact for AWP staff. If the event is accepted, you'll act as the liaison between AWP and your event participants to make sure that everyone knows what's happening with the event and is prepared to present it whenever you're scheduled to. The event organizer can be a participant on the event, but they don't have to be. If they'd like, they can just be the person who organizes everything for all of the participants. Next is the event moderator. This is the person who's designated to oversee all of the event proceedings. So they welcome everyone at the beginning of the event, introduce the presenters, make sure that any accessibility copies are handed out to any members of the audience that might need them, and most importantly, they make sure the event stays within the allotted time. This person is considered a full participant on the event and can participate in the discussion or reading just as the other presenters do. And then finally, and maybe most obviously, are the presenters, who are also commonly called panelists. These are the participants who have been added to the proposal by the event organizer. The presenters will receive a confirmation email when the proposal is submitted, but will not need to link their AWP account to the proposal like in years past. If your event proposal is accepted, each presenter will be responsible for adding their own public short biography through the Presenter Service Center. Next in this webinar, I'm going to cover the different components of the event proposal as you're going through and actually submitting information in the event proposal form. First is the event title and description, and this is how you describe your event to attendees. When the full schedule is announced in the fall, attendees will be able to search the schedule for any key terms that might interest them. When you're putting your proposal together, you should think about those key terms and include them in your event title and description to attract attendees' attention to your event should it be accepted. When you're writing your event description, make sure that you don't list your event participants, as that information will be included in a different section of the event proposal form. If you're looking for some examples for titles and descriptions and you want to see past events, you can find information about past events in the Conference Archives section of the AWP website. Next in the event proposal is the event category, and this is the type of event that you're proposing. There are two different formats for events that you can select, which are readings and panel discussions. Within those two formats, there are 18 predetermined event categories you can select from, including categories like fiction, craft, and criticism, artistic and professional development, pedagogy, program development, and more. More information about all of the categories can be found in the event proposal guidelines. One thing that's especially important to know about the event category is that proposals are only evaluated against other proposals in the same category. So for example, we wouldn't compare a fiction, craft, and criticism panel discussion to a poetry reading. All events within one category are scored and then compared to all of the other events in that same category. After that, all of the highest scoring events in a single category are the ones that are accepted for the conference schedule. Please be especially careful when you're selecting your event category, as that's a main part of how your proposal will be scored, and your proposal can score poorly if you put it in the wrong category. Next is your statement of value, and this is your opportunity to share why your event is important and why it should be shared with AWP attendees. This part of the proposal will be kept private and will be viewed only by the conference subcommittee. After that is the event agenda, and this is your opportunity to describe your preliminary plans for your event. This field and your answer for it lets the subcommittee know not only that you're thinking of the event's subject matter, but that you're also thinking about planning and executing the logistics of the event. It's okay if your plans aren't set in stone and they might change as we move along in the conference cycle, but you should have a general idea of how long you want each presenter to speak and the different topics you'll cover, and you can describe those things in this section. This field of the proposal form will also be kept private and will only be viewed by the conference subcommittee. Next is the event style field, and this is your opportunity to indicate whether you would prefer to hold your event in person in the convention center or if you would prefer to pre-record it and hold it virtually. When you're selecting your event preference, be careful in selecting the correct option, as you will not be able to change your preference at any point after submitting your proposal. In-person events and virtual events require very different resources and planning, so we can only accept a certain number of each type based on available space and AWP staff availability. Once all of the events are evaluated and the accepted events are announced, we will not be able to switch a virtual event to in-person or vice versa. To avoid any confusion or disappointment, please make sure that you select the correct choice for your preference when submitting your proposal. Any in-person events that are accepted will be scheduled to be held in person in the convention center during the upcoming conference. Any virtual events that are accepted will be pre-recorded in the fall and will be made available for attendees to watch on demand online during the conference and for 1 month afterwards. If you're interested in submitting a proposal for a virtual event, I recommend checking out the Virtual Event Proposals and Process page, which you can find on the AWP website by going to the Conference and Bookfair header, then scrolling over Event Proposals, then clicking Virtual Events, Proposals, and Process. That page has all the information on what to expect for submitting a virtual proposal and what will happen if your virtual proposal is accepted. The next field of the proposal form is the AV field, and this is where you should indicate if you need any additional audio-visual equipment for an in-person event. You don't need to request microphones or speakers, as those things will be automatically provided. But if you need internet access, an LCD projector and screen, or the ability to use Zoom, you should fill out the AV field and include a statement of need that describes why that equipment is fundamental to the execution of your event. One question we're asked often is if it is possible to include a remote virtual presenter on an in-person event proposal, and the answer is yes. If you want to have an in-person event with a remote presenter participating via video call, you'll just need to request the AV so that that person can participate via the video call platform of your choice, while the rest of the presenters are on site in the convention center. The last date to request AV is the same day as the deadline to submit proposals, so please make sure that if any presenters do think that they'll want AV for your event, that you indicate it when you submit your event proposal. As our resources for providing additional audio-visual equipment on-site are limited, we also ask that additional AV equipment only be requested when it is fundamental to the execution of the event. When you're thinking about whether or not to request extra AV equipment, Consider whether the additional AV equipment is a must-have or a nice-to-have resource for your event. If the equipment is not essential to the on-site execution of the event, we ask that an additional AV request not be submitted. If AWP receives more AV requests than we have the resources to provide equipment for on-site, please note that we may need to prioritize requests based on the provided AV statement of need. For example, events that request AV to show long, detailed presentations, to show extensive visual or audio materials, or to include one or more remote presenters via video call will be prioritized over events that only wish to briefly show images or websites. Accepted event organizers and participants will be notified of the audiovisual equipment that will be available in their assigned meeting room when the full conference schedule is announced in the fall. The last part of the event proposal form is the event participants list. On this list, you should include a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 5 event participants, including 1 moderator. One common question that we're asked is if organizers can add more than 5 participants, and unfortunately, we do need to stick to our 5 participant maximum. Over the years, we have found that 4 or 5 participants is a sweet spot for conference events, as it gives everyone ample time to share their perspectives and allows for deep, engaging discussion. When everyone has such great insight to share, it's not uncommon for event time to get away from the presenters, and we always want to avoid situations where the last presenter or two are rushing to get through the material that they hope to share with their audience. Having a maximum of 5 participants ensures that everyone has plenty of time to fully participate in the discussion or reading. Each individual can participate on a maximum of 3 event proposals and a maximum of 2 accepted events. If you're participating on the max of 3 proposals, it's fairly rare for all 3 to be accepted, but it does happen. If that's the case, you'll be asked to step down from one of your accepted events so that you comply with the 2 accepted event maximum. Organizers of event proposals are responsible for submitting all information for all proposal participants with the initial proposal submission, including information about each person's professional or artistic experience and expertise. Organizers should be sure to have prior permission from all participants before listing them in their proposal. While AWP membership is not required to participate on an event proposal, all proposal participants must have a free AWP user account to be listed on an event proposal. If a proposal participant has not yet created a free AWP account, they should create an account on the AWP website before the proposal can be submitted. When you invite someone to participate on your event proposal, please ask them for the email address they use to log into their AWP user account. To add a participant to your event proposal, please enter the email address associated with their AWP account into the email search field. The name and account ID fields will automatically populate with the information that is stored in the participant's AWP user account. If the AWP account email is not provided for a participant, or if incorrect information is provided, the participant will not be able to access the Presenter Service Center should the event be accepted. So please be sure to check in with all your event participants and confirm the correct email address. When entering your event participants' information, instead of a short biography, you will also be asked to submit a longer explanation of each participant's professional or artistic experience and expertise, particularly as the participant's experience relates to the proposal topic. This field allows event organizers to more fully describe how the inclusion of each participant will contribute to the proposal specifically. The experience and expertise section for each participant will be viewed only by the conference subcommittee and will not be posted publicly. Once the event proposal is submitted, the event participants will receive a confirmation email, but will not be able to view the proposal online. If you'd like to share the proposal with them, you can download a PDF of your proposal by going to the My Applications section of the submission portal and clicking the Print button next to your proposal title. If an event proposal is accepted, the event participants will have the opportunity to add their own public short biography through the Presenter Service Center. Once added, the public short biographies will be viewable on the online conference schedule. Accepted events for the upcoming conference will be announced in August. If you have any questions about the process for adding event participants, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at events@awpwriter.org for assistance. Moving on, I'm going to quickly cover a general event proposal timeline for the annual AWP Conference and Bookfair. As you work on your event proposal, please be sure to keep the proposal deadline and other key dates in mind. The proposal deadline and other important dates will be posted on the Event Proposal Overview page. After all of the proposals have been submitted, the conference subcommittee will evaluate all of the proposals over the summer. In August, AWP will announce the list of accepted events, event organizers will have the opportunity to review their events, and accepted participants will be able to submit their short biographies for the public schedule. Finally, in the fall, the full schedule will be announced and virtual events will begin the pre-recording process. Next, I'm going to cover where on the AWP website you can find specific information about the event proposal process. First is the Event Proposal Overview page, which you can find by going to the AWP website, then hovering over the teal conference button on the top navigation bar, then clicking the Event Proposals button. This page serves as a hub for information about the proposal system. You can submit an event proposal by clicking that big orange button, and you can also find some resources for crafting your event proposal. The resources include a link to a best practices guide, which has some tips for each step of the proposal process, and links to videos, including the walkthrough video that I mentioned earlier, and the link to this webinar video if you want to come back to it. As I mentioned previously, you can also review the list of key dates on this page, including the event proposal deadline. Please note that the event proposal deadline is always 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are in a different time zone, please be sure you are aware of the deadline in your time zone. For example, if you are in the Pacific time zone and submitting your proposal on the last day, you should be sure to submit your proposal by 8:59 Pacific time. Next is a really important page for submitting a proposal, the Proposal Guidelines page. You can find this page by hovering over the teal conference button on the top navigation bar, going to Event Proposals, then clicking the Proposal Guidelines page. This page has all information related to crafting and submitting an event proposal, and some key things to pay attention to are the event timeline and the detailed descriptions of all of the categories that your event proposal might fit into. Next is another important page, the Presenter Guidelines page. You can find it by hovering over Conference, then Event Proposals, then clicking Presenter Guidelines. This page has all of the information on what to expect if your proposal is accepted by the conference subcommittee, including information on planning the logistics of your event, how to prepare your event materials, and all of the presenter policies. Next, as I mentioned earlier, is the Virtual Events Proposals and Process page, which you can find by hovering over Conference, then Event Proposals, then Virtual Events, Proposals, and Process. This page has all information related to submitting a proposal for a virtual event and what to expect if your proposal for a virtual event is accepted. Next is the How Events Are Selected page, which you can find by hovering over Conference, then Event Proposals, then How Events Are Selected. This page has detailed information related to who selects the events for every conference, how that subcommittee is put together, and how they evaluate all of the events, including details about the scoring process. There will also be a page that lists the members of the conference subcommittee that you can find by hovering over the Conference button, then Event Proposals, then the Subcommittee page. This page will have a list of the members of the subcommittee that will evaluate proposals for the upcoming conference. Members of the subcommittee remain confidential to each other and to the public until after the evaluation process has been completed. Subcommittee members will be announced in August. Other pages that can be useful are the Conference Archives pages. To view conference archives from 2004 to 2024, hover over the About tab on the main navigation bar, then go to History, then click the AWP Archives button. On this page, you can click the Conference Archives and Photos button to view past conference schedules and individual events, which is useful if you're looking for examples of past event titles and descriptions. In the archive, you'll just need to click the drop-down menu and select whatever conference you're interested in. Then, to see the schedule, you'll click Event Schedule on that individual conference's archive. To view the conference archives from 2025 and on, hover over the Conference tab on the main navigation bar, then click the Conference and Bookfair Archives button. Click the drop-down bar to select the conference you're interested in viewing. And finally, if you still have questions that weren't answered on any of the other pages, you can always email me at events@awpwriter.org. If possible, though, I would recommend emailing sooner rather than later so that I have lots of time to answer your question and give you a full, detailed answer. Every year, we have a huge influx of questions in the last week of proposal submissions and especially on the last day. So don't wait and make sure that you get your answer in a timely manner so you can submit your proposal on time. Thank you so much for watching this webinar and for your interest in submitting a conference event proposal. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at events@awpwriter.org, and I will be happy to assist. Best of luck on your proposal, and I hope to see you at the AWP Conference and Book Fair.